Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you, that's better. This cold, wintry, freezing night. We will not keep you here long. We're going to go ahead and get started. Some adjustments here. All those that wanted to be here now are here, so we're going to respect everybody's time and call this meeting to order. My name is Jacqueline Penn. I'm the president of the Penn Branch Citizen Civic Association, and I'd like to welcome everybody to this November General Body meeting of our association. Thanks to everyone for coming out tonight, our special guests, Mr. Harvey and Ms. Thompson, and all those that are on the agenda tonight, and all of our residents that came out. A couple of housekeeping things I want to go over before we get started. I think I mentioned before the meeting started that we have refreshments in the back. Please take an opportunity to grab some water or some snacks that we have back here. We don't want to take anything home with us tonight. We had a whole lot of food left over from last month's meeting. We did have DC Fire and EMS here this evening. They provided free blood pressure and blood sugar screenings free of charge for anybody that wanted to take advantage of that. We published it in the newsletter last month, so if anyone came out, thank you for taking advantage of that free service. As we announced in last month's meeting, unfortunately we have to do the same again tonight. We have some unfortunate news to share with the community. It's with deep sadness that I inform the community that the father of our parliamentarian, Ms. Laverne Thomas, and the grandfather of our past president, Shannon Thomas, he made his transition last Friday. We don't have any funeral arrangements as of tonight, but I understand the funeral will be in Maryland Eastern Shore. Last I heard from Shannon, they were planning for it on Saturday, but I haven't gotten a confirmation back from any other details as of yet. We also had announced in the newsletter that Ms. Janet Strickland, one of our, of course, longtime neighbors as well, she lost her sister recently, so we want to pass along condolences to her as well. Please keep the families of our friends and neighbors in mind, in your prayers and your thoughts. And I'd like to take a moment of silence for all those that are sick and shut in, can't be here, as well as those that have made their transition. Thank you for that. We do have handouts available at the back of the room if you didn't pick some up on your way in this evening. We have membership applications. But let me ask, is there anyone in the room who's not an official PBCCA member tonight? Everybody's a member? Madam, we have membership forms in the back if you care to join the association this evening. My lovely daughter in the back will be more than happy to collect your membership dollars. So please feel free to join us if you will. We have survey forms in the back as well. Our Secretary Kyle will share more about those forms and about how you can submit your concerns and suggestions otherwise. Potluck celebration. How many are ready for the holidays, Christmas holidays? Well, it's coming, whether we're ready for it or not. We're getting prepared. PBCCA, we've got flyers in the back announcing our potluck celebration is coming up on December 12th. Please feel free to come out and participate with us. You do not have to be a member to come out and celebrate with us.
I was thinking, is it December 12th or December 10th?
Second Tuesday.
I think that's the 10th.
Uh-oh.
It's the 10th. That's the
Oh,
10th. And the flyer says the 12th.
I apologize. That's my fault. So I will make that change. Please, if you picked up a flyer, just scratch through that and put the 10th. It is not the 12th. My error on that. And also at the back of the room, we have a frequently asked questions document that the DC Fire and EMS left that highlights and walks through what happens when you call 911 and all of the concerns that are involved, and the nurse is going to be on the other end answering the phone, And one thing that they wanted me to highlight to all the residents, and please pass the word, that when you call 911, you will get the nurse on the other end. They'll go through a series of questions, and if you choose to have an ambulance come to take you to an emergency facility, a hospital, you will get billed like $500 for that ambulance fee. If your injury is a little bit minor and you feel like you need to go to just an urgent care center, there is a list of urgent care centers in the document that you'll get taken to free of charge via Uber or Lyft. So free versus $500, you decide which makes more sense to you. If you choose an emergency vehicle, get charged the $500 and don't pay the $500, he said eventually that will show up on your credit, which will, of course, not make you too happy and will probably cost you even more in the long run to get it off. So please be mindful of that. A couple of other things I want to run through real quickly. We are aware, we being the board, we are aware that there have been some unofficial PBCCA activities and events that have been hosted and that are being planned for the community, and we respectfully ask that all of the ideas and these events be brought to the board for review and or approval for the entire community. This is what the Penn Branch Citizen Civic Association nonprofit organization is all about, hosting and sponsoring events and activities that are for the benefit of the entire community. So let's all respect the business of PBCCA and utilize the proper channels to get things done. We appreciate all ideas, all those who want to get involved and volunteer your services for PBCCA, the official PBCCA, and all suggestions are welcome. A couple more things. Pope Branch Trail ribbon cutting ceremony was awesome. How many participated in the trail? Yes, hi. How are you guys? It was a huge success, and we'd like to thank the DC Parks and Recreation and the Student Conservation Association and all the other organizations that came out to participate in the trail walk with us. This was the first unpaved hiking trail that was open and made available to residents in the district, the Pope Branch Trail. I saw a question, I think it was on Nextdoor, about where the trail starts. If you go on Branch Avenue M Street, there's an entrance to the park right there at the intersection. Or if you go down to the end of Texas Avenue, there's also an entrance. So from one entrance to the other, it's about a mile. When I tell you it's a beautiful hiking trail with hills, and the Park Service has done quite a bit of work to get the park ready with new steps and all kinds of bridges and other reconstruction that they did to widen the path and make it accessible to all those who want to go down and enjoy that jewel that's in our backyard. We have pictures on the website as well as the Facebook page. I attended Councilmember Vince Gray's Leadership Council meeting back in October, and there were a couple of things that I wanted to highlight from that meeting. How many of you knew that we being Ward 7, did not have an urgent care center in the ward? See quite a few hands. Well, as of later this month, a new urgent care center is going to be coming to Ward 7. That's going to be open 24/7, providing those non-emergency room types of services to our community. It'll be opening at 5140 Nanny Helen Burroughs and Division Avenue, and we are really excited. We were really excited to hear about the program. It's being manned and staffed by MBI Health Services, LLC. I have a flyer that lists all the different services that they provide, but it's, again, all non-emergency types of things, mental health services, and so forth. Let me just grab a list here. I'll grab it once one of the other speakers comes up, but it highlights a lot of the different services that they'll be providing. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
And there's also a concern that we do not have or there is discussion to close United Medical, which is our only so-called full-service hospital. Although they want to close it prior to building our new hospital on the grounds of St. Elizabeth's. That's where our concern is right now, that it will not be a full-service, meaning it's not high-risk obstetrics there, or it will not be a level 1 trauma center. So that was the debate now that we're looking at with having care. Why should we have to go all the way to miles away to Georgetown, George Washington Hospital Center, Civic? Why can't we get our treatment here in Ward 7 and 8, or, service the people on this side of the river? So although they have the urgent care, we're, it's still a concern that we need a full service hospital.
And I agree with you on that point, and Councilmember Gray, I must say, is really kind of leading that whole effort to bring that to the attention and try to do whatever he can to get those types of services in the hospital in this area. In fact, there's a whole packet that he distributed at that leadership meeting that talks about all the different hearings coming up in regards to health and health services that he's participating in. Yes, Mom.
So the UMC is not going to close before St. Elizabeth comes online. So that's number one. Number two, it's going to be a level 2 trauma, which means it won't have medevac services, but it will have everything else. Number three, it will have obstetric, it will have OBGYN services, because he was just at an event, so he updated on all of those. And Skyland is going to have a medical office building.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for that update. Okay, moving on the agenda. Training. One other thing I wanted to highlight from that meeting is Councilmember Gray shared with us that from the mayor's office that they are working on providing training or delivering training to the community leaders from around the city. They wanted to get our ideas in regards to the types of training we wanted, everything from parliamentary procedures to how to conduct, how to interrelate with other community associations, but everything from a leadership standpoint is up for discussion right now. So we'll hopefully get some information this month as a follow-up to that announcement as to what they've decided to bring forth and provide to us. So without further ado, our next speaker on the agenda is Officer Marble to give us a report on the PSA 6 District crime report. Officer Marble.
Good evening, Penn Branch.
Good evening.
Oh, welcome. Today I want to go over and discuss a few things with you all in response to our crime for the last 30 days. As it looks now, we had 0 homicides, we had 0 sex abuse cases, 0 robberies excluding gun, 1 robbery with a gun, 1 assault with dangerous weapon excluding gun. We had 1 assault with dangerous weapon gun for a total of 3 violent crimes in the last 30 days. A year ago, the same time frame, we had 8. So we dropped in that category. We had 2 burglaries. We had 21 thefts, 13 theft from autos, 2 stolen autos, 0 arsons, and that gave us a total of 38 property crimes. A year ago to date, we had 24. And it gave us a grand total of crimes for the last 30 days was 41. A year ago we were at 32. Now the same things us driving our crimes is not none of you all, because you all know better. Don't leave stuff in your car. That drives our crime up. Theft from autos was at 13. A year ago we were at 11. But the thefts are still hurting us. But that's coming from a lot of the stores. And Lieutenant Preston, she's here today. She's going to discuss a little bit about some strategies we're going to try to use in reference to combating theft from autos and the thefts. But a lot of the thefts are coming from the stores, and some of it is theft from packages. Okay, so that drives our crime up also. So what we're going to have to probably start doing is putting out more literature on Instead of getting your package sent to your home or loved one home, some of the outlets. I'm gonna go around and find out all the outlet places like Addison Auto Parts. He's a drop-off point for your UPS packages. And there's some other locations in the area. I'm gonna get a list of those for you for the next meeting. Okay?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Preston. I'm responsible for PSA 605, which this area is a part of. I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Preston. I'm responsible for PSA 605 here in the 6th District. As Officer Marable indicated to you all, thefts is the driver of all the crime in this area. Right now, property crime is up by 9 for this month in comparison to the same time last year. We're going into the holiday season, so I want you all to just start being a little more mindful when we're doing our online shopping, when you're having things shipped to your home, that you may want to, be more mindful of where you're having these items shipped and how long these items are going to be sitting out, because we do have an increase in package thefts. If you're having items that are going to be shipped to your home, you may want to partner up with one of your neighbors to have them pick your packages up, have some type of alert set up to get an email or text notification when your packages are delivered so that you're aware that they're there and have someone to go pick them up. And also, like Marable said, there are other drop points. I know UPS has drop or pickup locations at grocery stores and retail establishments where you can have your packages delivered there and then you can safely pick them up from those locations. If you all haven't already taken advantage of our camera rebate program, now's a fine time to do so, because one of the biggest things that assists us with closing these theft cases is video evidence. So those of you all that have Ring doorbell or camera systems or security systems, those do help us a great deal when it comes to closing out those crimes. As we go into the holiday season, typically robberies will be on the uptick. Thankfully and prayerfully, we haven't had any in this area. We hope to keep those statistics down and non-existent as much as we can, but we also need you all to be aware of your surroundings as you traverse the areas, especially as it's starting to get darker earlier. So just be mindful of your surroundings, and like he said earlier, make sure that if you have items of value, make sure that they're not visible in your vehicles. Don't leave your laptops and purses and $200 sneakers visible in your vehicles, because people will steal them. Okay? I know we've had meetings where questions have arisen, and I want to say, I believe it was the ANC meetings, where they've asked questions in reference to traffic enforcement along the Branch Avenue corridor. A lot of the streets there are do not enter during rush hour times. So I just wanted to give you all an update on where we are with that. Since September 1st, we've written a total of 24 tickets, totaling over $26,700 in fines and violations. So we are out there. We do have a traffic unit that is actively enforcing the traffic control signs, the do not enters. So they are out there. One of the concerns that we were faced with in a previous meeting, I want to say it was the ANC meeting that's held upstairs, they wanted to know specifically when officers were on their street. We're out there, our traffic unit can't be in one block every day. They have to be able to hit every block, everywhere where there are traffic concerns, and that's not just one particular block. So they are out there and they are making a huge impact with these tickets. So that's all I have for you all tonight. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I just had a comment and a question. And so the first comment is, well, I guess a different question too. Are you all doing anything about the speeding down Branch Avenue and Minnesota Avenue parallel to Branch Avenue? Because I know the speed limit there is 25, but people routinely are going, over 50. Is that part of your traffic enforcement as well?
We do. So our traffic enforcement officers are out there not only for enforcement of the sign violations and the rush hour violations and the do not enters, but they also are out there conducting what we call LiDAR. So they're using laser assisted technologies in order to do speed enforcement throughout the 6th District. So we usually hit the major arteries and we hit the areas where we've had significant concerns, where there have been traffic accidents and fatalities, where we have major arteries where there's a lot of commuter traffic. So they go from location to location. And Minnesota Avenue, Branch Avenue, Southern Avenue are definitely on the list of areas that they routinely hit.
Thank you. And then my second question is regarding the Ring cameras. It's a little bit confusing because they have the different services. So what services are you all able to use to close your cases? For instance, do we need to have a subscription to store the video, or how does that work so we can best help you?
So ideally, even if it's not a Ring camera, if it's just any type of security system where you're able to store the video footage, I believe with the Ring camera system, if you don't have a subscription, it doesn't record or store the footage. So that wouldn't be of any use, because by the time you get home and realize that your property has been taken, it's typically hours later. So by the time it's assigned to a detective for investigation or the officer responds to the scene, you wouldn't have that footage if you didn't have some type of DVR or storage device or storage subscription in order to store the video.
Okay, but you all are able to use those types of videos in order to, are they admissible in court or things like that?
So yes, what we do with the video, once we are able to determine who the suspect is based on the images provided in your video, if we can identify a suspect, that all plays into whether or not we can, present this information in court. It's, juries nowadays want to see it on video. If it didn't happen on video, then it didn't happen. So it's one thing for us to identify a suspect, but it plays a lot better with juries and with courts when you have video footage to show this is the person that committed the crime. See, he's right here, in the act. So it's absolutely helpful.
Thank you, that's helpful.
With the Ring, you need at least a basic monitoring service in order for it to qualify for
Yeah.
the program.
That's what we're debating, but my husband heard that that you can't use the footage, and I was like, I don't think that's true, so.
Right, well, we don't have direct access to it. We would have to get access to it from the homeowner to allow us to be able to see the video. And with some of the camera systems, you can store and email it directly to the detective investigating the cases.
Great.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I have a question that actually is a follow-up to your question. I was with a coworker who lives in Northeast DC
Okay.
yesterday, and he has a video, a camera system around his home.
Okay.
It was facing his neighbors. He was able to see the neighbor's package being stolen.
Okay.
So they called the police, and this is MPD, and and he showed me the image as well, and you could see the person in the video. It was daylight. You could see the person's height, their their size. But he said that the police officers who came to his home yesterday said that because the face was not clear, they could not use it at all. So he felt discouraged because it gave his neighbor hope, because he actually had captured the person stealing his neighbor's package, but the police department sort of just dashed that whole excitement, because they didn't even take it beyond. They said, oh, well, we can't see the face, so,
Okay.
Thanks for calling, but it really can't help us. So I guess my question is there a particular video system that you guys, or that your department finds to be the most accurate, or they have the most accurate pictures? Because after experiencing that discussion yesterday, if I get a system, I want it to be one that the MPD feels like they can see a clear image.
Right.
And use.
So I can't speak or endorse any particular type of security
I
system.
understand that.
But what I can say is it's all about where your cameras are positioned. So if your friend has images that doesn't show the face, that's not going to help us in identifying a suspect. However, if we're able to identify a suspect through other means, that video can corroborate what we already have. So let's say, for example, the suspect is caught with the neighbor's property in their possession, right? And we're able to say, okay, this is the person who did it. We know that you were captured, caught with this property 3 blocks away. And then we get this video that doesn't capture the face, but it shows the clothing, and the person is wearing the same exact clothing. It corroborates the information that we all have. So don't be discouraged. The officers that responded to the scene, the patrol officer that took the report, isn't the person that's going to be conducting the investigation. It'll get assigned to a detective who's going to do follow-up investigation from there.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any other questions? Concerns? Issues? Complaints? No? Yes, ma'am.
The laundromat is turning into a dumping site
Which laundromat?
right here on Carpenter, and I have pictures.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Where?
Right here on Carpenter, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
they dump things there now. And I saw them dumping on Monday. So I have pictures of them dumping, but it's a nuisance. And
What they dumping? Trash or tires, or what are they
all of
dumping?
that, beds.
Bed, mattresses?
Now, are these items being dumped near the trash can or just where?
Right on the side of the building.
Okay. Now, are the owners, or have the owners of the laundromat been contacted? Have they made a report or a
They're
complaint?
not good neighbors, they are not responsible to anything but to your attention.
Okay, so in reference to any property that's being dumped, that is private property, they would have to make a complaint. So we would need them to be proactive in notifying us when these things are happening so that it can be removed.
So if you see someone, dumping, if the police see someone just dumping stuff, they can't do anything about it when it's in action?
Well, so, and maybe you can probably speak to this a little better than I could. When it comes to illegal dumping, in order for it to be illegal, it has to be against the wishes of the property owner.
I done spoke to the laundromat. I done went in there and spoke to them on several occasions, explained to them. But I explained to them they have the right to call. They have the right to call us to give us that information, saying this is happening. But
It doesn't matter what happens there, they have domestic violence, they have people being beat up, they have all kinds of acts. You go there, you tell them it's disturbing the community, and they push you out.
But I'm just saying, we can't, that's private property. So the city can't just come, because they're responsible for cleaning it. When they don't, I cite them for that, because I done talked to them, I gave them the information. If you have a dumping issue, you can call 311, even though you are a private property, and that allows us then to come onto your property and take action for you. But if you don't call us, we don't have right to come onto your private property and then say leave it dump, but I have the right to issue you the citation for not cleaning it up.
What if it's somebody that lives like in Maryland or Virginia that's dumping?
Or violent crime, they go out there, no matter where you live at.
Right, but again, if it's on private property, the complaint has to come from the property owner. We can't just arbitrarily say, hey, you can't dump here, because for all we know, they may have been given permission by the property owner. So without direct contact from the property owner, we can't necessarily enforce it without knowing for sure whether or not the dumping was illegal. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next up on the agenda, thank you, Lieutenant and Officer Marlowe. Next up on the agenda, we had the reading of the minutes from our 10/8 our October meeting. Unfortunately, we do not have copies of the minutes available. We do have the video of the meeting available on the website, and we will have those minutes available at our December meeting. So we'll have to table that for now. Next up on the agenda is, I'm sure what many of you are maybe here for tonight or concerned about, want some updates on, and that is the status of our VP vacancy announcement that we posted in a November newsletter and shared with everyone at the end of the last meeting. Unfortunately, we received a notification from the one candidate that we received a nomination from. We received a notification that she is not going to be able to assume that position or run for that position due to personal reasons that I will respect. And so at this point, the VP position is still vacant. Given the fact that we have made the proper announcements according to the bylaws, we don't have an alternate candidate that we can select to move into that position, and we only received that one nomination form. And thirdly, we are very close to our nominating season for new officers for the next administration. The nominating season in January, we're supposed to select a nomination committee to start scouting for new officers for the next administration. From January to March is that time period. April is when the new slate of officers is supposed to be presented to the association, and May is when the elections are supposed to be held. June 1st is when the new officers take their new positions. So at this stage, we are still with the vacant VP position. Our secretary, Kyle Murphy, has volunteered to step into that role and wear dual hats for the next few months. Oh, and by the way, we're still going through the updating of our bylaws, which Kyle will give us an update on in just a few minutes. A recommendation was made to the board, a recommendation from the board was to accept Kyle's offer to step into that role on a part-time basis, wearing dual hats over the next couple of months while we focus on getting a full-time slate of new officers for the new administration. So,
I second that.
I beg your pardon?
I second it.
Who made the motion?
I thought you were making a motion.
She's getting ready.
I'm putting the motion on,
I'm sorry.
I'm providing the association with an update
Yeah.
on the situation. Is there a motion to,
I have a question. So
yes ma'am?
You only gave people 1 day to consider becoming the vice president.
No, that's not true, ma'am.
Well, the only email I got said was on October the 30th, and it said have it by October 31st.
We, at the last meeting on October the 8th, God bless you, at the meeting on October 8th, we announced the vacancy for the position. We posted it on the website that same day, or that evening rather. So from October the 8th through October 31st, the deadline was October 31st. We emailed a reminder to the listserv on October 30th that the deadline was coming to put your nominations in by the deadline. We also posted, as we indicated on the nomination form, we posted in the newsletter the nominees that we received for the position. So we had that, according to the bylaws, the vacancy was announced the month before now, which is when we were scheduled to vote, and the position is still vacant.
So you saying at the meeting that the mayor was at?
Yes. At the end of that meeting, we announced the vacancy. That technically, it was at that meeting that the position became available. I, as the former vice president, became president. On that evening, the position was vacant. Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question. So do the bylaws allow for the question to be put to the group of folks that are here now in case someone has changed their mind or has decided to step up? Is there a possibility of throwing the question out now if there are any more persons interested in the position?
No, the bylaws doesn't, our bylaws doesn't specifically state that.
Okay.
We received a recommendation from the board that we have our current secretary step into that role. Again, considering that it's such a short period of time for a new vice president to come on board, and we've got such a limited number of resources on the board and on the committees now, we really need to focus our efforts on the nominating committee in January and looking forward to a new slate of officers. So it's our recommendation to the association that we accept Kyle's offer to join, to step into that role. If there's a discussion, anybody else want to step into that role for the interim period, we'll be happy to entertain that on the floor, but the bylaws don't specifically state that. Well, the hour is growing late, and we've got guest speakers that are waiting to share with us as well. Is there, I'll ask the question again, is anyone interested in being considered for the open vice president's position? Okay. Yes, ma'am, in the back. Can't hear you.
I'd like to motion that we accept the recommendation of Kyle being interim. Accept the recommendation of Kyle.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and properly seconded that we accept our Secretary Kyle Murphy's offer to step into the role of vice presidency. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor of, well, it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor of accepting Kyle's offer to step into the position signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes carry. The motion carries that Kyle will assume the role of Vice President for the open position for the remaining of the administration. Thank you. Okay, moving on then, I want to get out of the way. So Kyle now can come up and give us an update on the bylaws. Real quickly, we have to run through our committee reports, and I thank our guests for being so patient with this while we get to this process.
Good evening, everybody. How are y'all doing? So I'll be very brief on bylaws update. So tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., the ad hoc subcommittee of the legislative committee that is charged with updating the bylaws will be meeting here. We have a committee of folks that include 2 lawyers from our community, as well as a couple of other professionals that we have brought together to work on updating our bylaws, along with the pro bono legal assistance that we're getting from Latham & Watkins that we previously updated you all on at other meetings. Our aim from this meeting tomorrow is to review our current bylaws, look at some example bylaws from other community associations, including neighboring community associations like Hillcrest, but also across the city, folks who have gone through a similar exercise, where they've come out and look at what we might consider incorporating or what things we might see that we would like to do differently. And then to conclude the meeting with a work plan for how we're going to get our bylaws updated, ideally before we go through the nominating and election cycle for our next slate of officers, so that those folks will come in governed by this new set of bylaws. Of course, as our current bylaws state, this committee will bring forth its recommendations for the new draft bylaws to the general body. The general body has to approve those new bylaws by a 2/3, a supermajority vote. Those are all the things that we would like to do before we go through the next slate of elections for officers. So that's what we will do in tomorrow's meeting is come up with that work plan to try to get us to that goal by the springtime. Yes?
Hi, are you going to put out your changes on a red line when they're ready? And will we have like a time between meetings where we can review them and make suggestions?
Yeah, so I think my intent would be to make sure that this bylaws committee leaves time for that. I think absolutely we want to ensure that the general body membership has sufficient time to review a draft version, provide any inputs before we go to a final version that we would bring for voting.
Okay.
So yes, I think that's something that we can discuss tomorrow night in the meeting. We'll take on board that suggestion.
Thank you.
Sure. Sir?
Is it proper to say who the members are for that ad hoc committee?
Sure. Nobody has asked for anonymity, so Dr. Cicely Hampton is one of them. Ms. Rosemary Crockett is another one. Joan McKenzie in the back is another one. And Tad Dury, who is relatively new, moved to the community in the last year, is also a lawyer. He's the other member along with myself.
So
Yes?
although we will give to the public at a later time, tomorrow night, we still can come, or can any of us still be present?
There's no secret to the meeting. You're welcome to join. I think the small group are the folks who have agreed to kind of see this effort through. And so those are the core folks who need to be there. But if it's something that you're really interested in joining, then feel free to see me afterwards and we can talk about it. 7 p.m. here in the library. Yes, ma'am.
You indicated you would put them on the internet, which is good. My question is, since you are going to lead it, is it, because I tried to send some suggestions and your email came back.
Okay.
So could you give us the email we should send suggested?
Yeah, I have had recently some issues with mailbox storage, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I just want to have the right place to send my suggestions.
Sure. Can we use the info at Penn Branch? The info at pennbranchdc.org will be the best one that we can use, and then we'll make sure that it gets to the committee.
Okay, I'll send them tonight.
Yeah, I must say that email address was dormant for a while, but it's been reactivated and it is being monitored, so.
Okay.
Tom, point
Yes,
of
ma'am.
clarification, what Laura said, are you going to provide a red line copy or just an updated copy?
So,
So red line is to track changes, basically.
right, off of the current version, I don't know if that's what we're going to do. I think because the current version is not in compliance with the DC laws governing bylaws as well as IRS standards, We might work from a fresh document. I think, though, we will take the current bylaws and what's enshrined in those as a representation of what PBCCA members have previously thought were important, and ensure that we at least capture that information, I think, and more. I think most bylaws that are governing similar associations are now a bit more extensive and a bit more detailed, and I think the experiences that we've had over the last 6 months or so as an organization note that there are probably some areas that we might want to govern a little bit more carefully in our bylaws. So I think being able to compare side by side is certainly something folks can do, but I don't think we will provide a red line of that, because I think there would end up being a lot of scratch through and rewrite that would make it hard for folks to read.
So this is not just a revision, this is like an overhaul.
Yes, absolutely, because they're not currently in compliance with the laws. Any other questions on bylaws? Yes, sir.
To piggyback on that, though, it may be helpful in order of transparency, also to say, we're removing this, here's the reason why, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't
Sure.
apply. So to kind of go through that,
Yep.
and I think that's the purpose of the red line, is that, so if it's not current or it's not relevant, then just to say, we're gonna update this, remove this, here's the reason why, blah, 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 blah. So
Sure.
that may be helpful.
So something maybe that we could do is when we do our first circulation of the updated version to the community, maybe I can do an annotated version that explains where things are the same from our current bylaws, and where there are things that are changed, or if there are things that no longer exist, why they're not there. So instead of being the old version with lots of scratch-throughs, it could be the new version, but it ensures that it covers everything that was in the previous version that's either conveyed, changed, or been deleted. Is that something that would address your
Yeah, and
concern?
then you have a traceability to that, too. So if we're looking at the old to say,
I think that,
section one, paragraph this, such and such has been removed, and here's the new one.
yeah, I will do that. I think the one thing that I'm not committing to do is take a version of the previous one and make all the changes and edits on that. But certainly in the annotated new version can say the previous bylaws or the existing bylaws, because we will not have yet approved the new ones. In the existing bylaws, section 1A, it states this. In the new ones, this is the corresponding section. We've updated it to say these things because of this reason. So then any resident could take the new bylaws and the existing bylaws and the proposed new ones and compare them side by side to see what we're changing. Does that address your concern? Okay. Anything else on bylaws? Then I'll just, last note, a reminder of what Jacqueline said, that there are surveys in the back. The survey is intended to get input from all of you on what you'd like to see more of or different from PBCCA in the year ahead. This data is valuable to us now as much as it will be next summer and the year after. So we're going to look at ways to make it easier for folks to submit that, maybe using an online survey platform. For now, there are paper copies. It's also available on the website for you to be able to print out. You can take a picture of it on your phone and email it to info@PennBranchDC. You can scan it and send it back to us, or you can just replicate the questions in an email and send the body of that email to info@PennBranchDC.org. And we will compile those, and in a future meeting, once we get sufficient inputs, we will relay back to you what we've heard from folks. Any questions or comments? Okay, thank you all very much.
Oh, thank you, Kyle. Now, again, in the interest of time, I'd like to bring up our corresponding secretary, Elson Nash, to introduce our guest speakers for the night. We're going to just switch things around on the agenda a little bit so that we can be respectful of our guest time and continue to move forward with our committee reports after they're done. Yes,
I
sir.
just wanted to make sure that, I know last time we did a modification of, due to the mayor being here. I just wanted to make sure that we get all committee reports in during this session.
Yes, we will.
All right, in the interest of time, we have two wonderful guest speakers for our Senior Services Roundtable. So let's give them a round of applause before we begin. We have Mr. Wesley P. Harvey from Seabury Resources for Aging, and Ms. Alice Thompson, the Community Outreach Specialist Extraordinaire. Yes, we've heard your wonderful work throughout the city for both of you. And so with that, I'm going to do ladies first. Ms. Thompson, please. Oh, come on. You sure?
Yes.
You sure? All right.
You want to vote for Madams?
Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, board, especially Ms. Banks, Ms. Cannon. Appreciate the opportunity to present to this group this evening. Again, my name is Wesley Harvey. I'm the director of Seabury Connector. Seabury Connector is a department within Seabury Resources for the Aging. And Seabury Resources for the Aging has been around for 95 plus years, providing services to those who reside in DC who are 60 and over. Within the department, the connector department, there's 4 divisions or 4 departments, if you will, that I want to touch on. One is sites and activities. This is where we provide transportation to the day centers. We do that by way of bus, by way of 7 and 2 vans, and we provide transportation from your home to the facility. That's what we call the wellness facility. And the wellness facility in Ward 7 is Washington Seniors Wellness Center, which is at 3001 Alabama Avenue Southeast. So folks there go there in the morning. We pick them up again from home, take them there. Quite often there's activities throughout the day. They go bowling, they go to the movie theater, they go wherever the director schedules the activity. And then we come back in the afternoon and pick them up and take them back home. Now we have centers in every ward. Okay? In order to participate in that particular program, you have to work with your ward agency. We don't sign you up. You go through your ward agency. You sign up through them. Once you're accepted, or signed up rather, then they notify us, okay, you need to start picking up Mr. or Mrs. Johnson. And then we start picking you up Monday through Friday. And it's a full schedule that they plan. Each center has a very full set schedule. We provide strength and conditioning activities at these centers. They provide activities that are outside. They provide counseling. There's a wealth of activities that take place within the facility as well as going outside. We also have a department that we call home delivery meals. Again, you have to work through your ward, sign up, and then the agency will send us a list of those who are to receive meals. We deliver meals Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Saturdays. We also deliver supplemental beverages, which are your Ensure and things of that nature. Nutrients, nutritious beverages. That department, we have about 10 vehicles associated with that. They're hot and cold vehicles, meaning we have the refrigeration or heating on the back of those vehicles to keep the meals fresh. The third department is your connector card. Connector card is this department is really growing. It's a card that we provide that is a debit card, and you can use it for transportation services. You can use it for cab, Uber, Lyft, any cab company, like I said, and you can go to the doctors, you can go to the movies, you can go wherever. And it's really structured based on your income. So you can do up to 2 loads per month. Loads are loading the card for a max of $100 for the month. Okay? So each load is $50 based on your income. We match it, meaning there's a portion that you provide and a portion that we provide. We supplement, so to speak. And it's, again, total $50 per load, 2 times per month for a max of $100. And again, this program is really taken off. We have over 800 card members. Out of the 800, 370 are active. These are folks using the card daily. Go to the grocery store, whatever the case may be.
So, point of clarity, you're saying that you will match the $50 or so if you have a max of 100, so the total you're getting is $200?
No, I'm sorry if I confused you. There is a match, but it's not a identical match. Maybe match is the wrong word. We do supplement the card, meaning the total for the month is $100, period. And that's broken up into two loads per month, for a max of $50. Some folks, we will contribute $35 to their 15 and get to the 50. Okay, so I'm sorry if I confused you with that. So that's how you get to, and again, it's based on your salary. Okay. The last department, I'm sorry, go ahead, you have a question.
Just in terms of the meals, do you all prepare the meals, or you pick them up from somewhere and then drop them off? Or?
We pick them up and drop them off. The last department is our shuttle bus service. This is a service that we recently started, whereas we're providing shuttle service to wherever you want to go within DC. Sites and activities is restricted to no more than 5 miles beyond the DC line. With this service, it's a private pay service, really. It's through Seabury Resources for Aging. And again, you can go anywhere you want. We have a contract with Edgewood Terrace in DC, where every Wednesday we take their group somewhere, wherever they want to go. We've been to MGM, we've been to the outlets, we've been to restaurants, bowling, and what have you. So it's a really, really good service. A lot of the residents there, they really like it because not only do we take ambulatory, but we also transport wheelchair-bound customers. So again, it gives you a lot of flexibility. There's less constraints because we're not going through DACL regarding transport services, so there's no limitations there. We can go well outside of DC, Northern Virginia, wherever the case may be. And that is a service that we can schedule for you as well. So I will leave my card and brochures in the back. If anyone has any questions, they can reach out to us and inquire. If you have a family member, if you don't qualify, you have a family member in DC who qualifies and you want to get information, feel free to reach out to us and we'll provide information and hopefully get you signed up and start taking advantage of the wealth of services that we offer. Anyone have any questions?
So I can catch the shuttle bus from here and go to any senior center in
Yes.
DC, free?
It's free, but you have to go to your, for instance, you live in Ward 7, you have to go to your ward, you have to go to your center.
But what if I belong to another senior center? If I belong to another center?
You belong to another center through Seabury?
Yeah. Can I use the shuttle bus?
No. Wait a minute. Are you talking about the sites and activities, or are you talking about the shuttle bus?
I'm just trying to figure out which one I can catch.
The sites and activities.
That's just for the ward.
That's through the ward. You have to go to the ward, and then they will notify us that you are signed up, and we can start picking you up and taking you to your assigned center.
But I'm assigned to 2 centers.
2 centers.
Yes.
You're a special case.
Yes.
I would have to work with you on that and find out. It's really, I don't dictate it. The ward has to dictate.
Yeah, because you can belong to as many centers
Right.
as you want.
That's a unique situation. I've only been with the Resources for Aging for 5 months, but I haven't experienced that one. So I can check on it for you, but it really will be the ward telling me where you go. Okay. Now, the shuttle bus service, we dictate that. We have full control of that. Now, that can take you anywhere. It's
free.
It's group. Yeah. Well, no, it's not free. That's a private pay service.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right.
That's a private pay service.
Okay. What are the limitations for the drivers of the shuttle bus service in assisting people who have to go to the doctor's appointments?
The shuttle bus service?
Yes.
Okay, the shuttle bus service is really for group activities. Okay? The sites and activities bus, that will take you to the facility as well as other activities. We don't do medical trips any longer.
Okay, because I had some seniors who attempted to use that service, and they were taken to a medical facility for doctor's appointments, but the drivers were not in a position where they could help that patient,
Okay? Yeah.
in and out of the house. You know, that person had to get out of the house on his or her own.
Right, they're not
Right.
supposed to.
Okay.
They're supposed to have a caregiver with them.
That's, we provide sites and activities is door to door. We do have some drivers that will go beyond the norm, but we don't encourage that. It's door to door.
Okay, that's what I want.
Just quickly, when you say ward, are you talking about places like East of the River or, those centers that were approved through Medicaid or through, the insurance for these persons to be able to participate in Seabury? Or when you say they have to go through their ward?
They have to go through their ward. I have a list of, for instance, I just read off one, but I have a list of wards and the contacts for you to reach out to. You have them as well. Thank you, Chief. Okay. So those are the folks that you have to reach out to if you want to go to the wellness centers.
Are you connected with Seabury House, the apartments?
The house department?
Not the house, there's some Seabury apartments, and I wondered if your agents, they're part of your Seabury.
We have assisted living and independent living facilities. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyone have any other?
So when you say ward, you're talking about the wellness center within your ward, like?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that's what
Yeah. And again, the wellness center within this ward is the Washington Senior Wellness Center, 3001 Alabama Avenue.
In the same way.
I think so. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Just want to say hello and thank you for inviting me. My name is Alice Thompson and I'm the team lead for the Department of Aging and Community Living. I'm very happy to be here. So one thing that I wanted to help him with was that there are 6 senior wellness centers in wards 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, we do have UDC, that's the Body Wise. So it's probably some members here that go to the Body Wise. So those are our centers. And of course, you have to be 60 years old. So that means if you have a mate and your mate is 59, can your mate go? He can go in and look around. Okay? But he can't stay. So that's the thing about the senior wellness centers. So I'm going to start with our greatest program, that is the Safe at Home. How many folks use Safe at Home? One person. How many people know what Safe at Home means and what is the program? Tell us. Okay, well, let me. You, yes.
They provide services, well, not services, but they provide things for you in your home that you would need being a senior. Like railings for your steps, the chair that rides up and down, things in your bathroom that you would need, like that. And that's what the Safe at Home is. They'll come out, talk to you, and it's really good.
Yes, okay, so Safe at Home is adaptations to make sure that you can stay in your homes for as long as possible. And one of the great things about the Safe at Home is that the salary has gone up. When Safe at Home first came out in 16, I think it was 65,000. Now it's up to 68,000. So that means that if a senior is making 68,000 or less, a lot of people think, oh, 68,000, well, I don't make 68,000, so that means I don't qualify. Yes, you do. That means 68,000 up to 68. So that means that a person, if they have a problem going up and down the steps, then they would qualify, right? Now, where is the average bathroom in the average house in Washington, D.C.? Upstairs, right? So where's the average washer and dryer? In the basement. So that means that if a person that has an income up to 68,000 and they are having a problem going upstairs to their bathroom, do we want them to stay upstairs all day or to stay downstairs all day? No, we don't. We want them to be free to move around their house. So if they need a chairlift upstairs and if they need one downstairs, we're going to put it in. Now that may be all that you'll get this go round, right? Because chairlifts cost roughly $3,000 each. Did you have a question?
I did.
Go ahead.
You were saying 68,000 per person.
That's for one person.
Okay, so if you're married.
So if you're married, it goes up to 77,700 for two. Then for three, it's 87,400. Now I'm gonna tell you why I'm reading these off. For four people, it's $97,050. But then when we go to $68,001, right? Up to 76,500. That's one person, but that person has a higher income, right? That means that instead of her being able to get, or he, getting everything free because their income was 68,000, and that means you automatically will get the home security camera too. Because they fall in that second bracket, they have to pay 50%. And the reason why this was done is because a lot of seniors were saying, well, you know, it's not fair. And maybe it's not fair. But what the office wanted to do was to make sure that people that have the higher income are included too, because just because your income is high, DC is pretty darn expensive, right? So we wanted to make sure that even if we only help them with 50%, that's $1,500 on that chairlift, right? That's a big help. So that's how it's broken down. So then when you get to 76,000, and I'm sorry you all didn't pick up. I'm sorry, I should have given them out while I was sitting here all this time. No offense. But anyway, for 76,500 up to 85,000, it becomes 75%. That means that you have to pay 75%. So that chairlift that was $1,500 goes to $7,500, but that's still a help. And so the income goes all the way to $1,121. And let me tell you something. Probably next year, it's going to be $2,000 or $3,000 more. And I predict probably in the next 4 or 5 years, instead of it being $68,000, it'll probably be $82,000 because of the way the cost of living keeps going up in the city. So that's the Safe at Home. I don't want to spend too much time because I know my time's almost up. So I want to tell you all about our new name. How many people have heard our new name? We are DACA now. How many people heard of DACA? It's a little crazy. It sounds a little odd because everybody's used to Office on Aging and DCOA. It's now DACA. It means Department of Aging and Community Living. So these are our colors. Everybody seen our new colors? Yeah. So those are new colors. So we have a lot of services. How many people know what the EPD waiver means? Tell me, tell them.
It is a program under the Department of Healthcare Finance where they offer elderly persons and disability with in-home services, maybe personal care aid services.
Yes.
They qualify based on their income.
Income. So with the EPD waiver, it is for persons that need someone to help them with their day-to-day daily living chores. How many people know what day-to-day daily living chores mean? Tell us someone.
Bathing, toileting, feeding, you know, that kind of thing. Mobility, activities of daily living.
Okay. All right, someone else tell me.
So I
Well,
got
yeah, activities of daily living, which includes someone that has to actually touch you and help you make
Okay,
clothes.
make it real quick. Bathing, clothing, dressing, feeding you, right? I didn't hear all of what you said, but what I wanted her to say was about taking medication. Medication is really important. You know why it's so important? Because if you are in the bed, or you can't get out, or if you run out of medicine, who's going to give it to you? Who will be able to go and get your medicine? That's one thing that's so great about a caregiver. The only problem with a caregiver, and a lot of people say, well, I don't see why I can't get a caregiver. Your income cannot exceed $2,313 a month. You cannot have more than $4,000 in the bank. A lot of people say it's not fair, but who should receive that help? People that really need it and have a lower income, right? Okay, so I know my time is up.
Wow.
5 minutes.
Oh, 5 more minutes. Okay, so we want to make sure that you know about our senior wellness centers. Like Seabird was saying, we have home delivered meals. Now, like he was also saying, they don't have transportation anymore, and the reason why they don't have transportation is because seniors said that they want to be able to go to the doctor at 7 in the morning. Seabird starts to work at 9. Okay? So that makes sense, right? And some of them want to be able to go 7 in the evening, especially if they're with Kaiser. Okay? So that's one of the things. So there's also Transport DC. How many people use Transport DC? How many people have heard of it? Okay? Transport DC means that you must have a what? Metro access card. You have to have some type of disability to have Transport DC. The cab fare is like $5 each way. Okay? So just make sure that you know that we still have the senior beacon. How many people look at the senior beacon? I believe this meeting was in there tonight. So just make sure that you read the senior beacon, because we used to have a really big circulation, and you know why we don't now? Because you're all not reading it. So they took that money away. We were spending over $90,000 a year for the senior beacon, but people weren't reading it. I would go to churches and it would be stacked up the day that it came and stacked up the next month. Same thing with the recreation centers. So they're the funny thing about it, because you can't get it whenever you feel like it. And then everybody's saying, oh, we don't ever see the senior beacon anymore. So that's why. So I brought some in and take a look at it. Now, I brought some bags in, but the problem was that I went to a funeral today, so I could not go back into the building. I didn't have Mr. Holt's telephone number, because I could have asked him to put another box in the car. So the bags that I think I have about 25, and guess who I want to get them? What's my population?
Seniors.
Seniors. They can have the bags, but I have other things for you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate. Were there any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson, Mr. Harvey. We appreciate y'all sharing all this wonderful information of the services that are available to our seniors. I wanted to ask about the beacon. Is that available online anywhere, or is it just not being posted? It is online?
It is online.
Okay. Well, very good, very good. I'll tell a whole lot of folks I know about these services. And I must say, when I talk with seniors outside of the DC metro area, and I tell them about all the services that I knew were available, they're like, that's incredible.
Maryland doesn't have half of what we have. Yeah, I understand that there's a safe at home in different parts of the country, but it's not like ours.
No. So I would highly encourage all the seniors and those that are approaching, the age 60. We plan on taking advantage of these services.
Right, our other population is anyone with a disability age 18 and up.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
We have two populations.
Well, perhaps we'll have you back another time to share some more information. Thank you for coming out and for your patience as well. Well, moving on the agenda, getting back to our committee reports. Next up, we had Ms. Tawana Banks to give us a report on the treasury.
Good evening, everyone. So I know for the last, also there are handouts available for DACL to the right on the table for everyone. So I know over the last 3 months I haven't been able to do a treasury report due to the meeting in September referenced the new candidate for presidency. Then in October, the mayor was here. So I do have August, I have August, September, and October. So what I'm going to give you today is just the current balance that we have in the account. We have done exceptionally well on memberships for the last 3 months. We have about $2,389 that have come in for membership. And we had about $1,000 that went out. So the balance that we have in the account today is $3,166.69. We paid up all our bills for the printing of some of the newsletters, 2 months back. We're in the process of doing new membership cards. I went today to look at the membership cards. I wasn't happy with the print or the look of them, so I'll be contacting you all to trade off your old membership cards with the new. I want to really do the hard card. Just the print was just really off, and I have a few copies if you want to see them. So stand and I'll get together and get those out. Also, Jacqueline put out there that we're going to be doing the Christmas gathering on the 10th of December, so that we don't have to tap into the $3,166. We would like for people to make donations. So the list is back there on the back table, awaiting your choice of dish.
So the donation, can it be a monetary donation or just a dish donation?
It can be monetary.
And we can leave that back there?
Yes, we do have a new membership person back here, which is Veronica Cannon. Veronica Beverly. Veronica, can you stand up? Oh, there she is.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. So if you have any membership, any donations that can be given to Veronica.
Just two things. What about obligated funds and also anticipated expenditures? Those things are very, I'm sure you know, in the accounting procedure. And so do we have funds that are obligated and do we have anticipated expenditures? It could be a legal expenditure or whatever.
Okay, Ms. Owens, I do have the reports, and once I get the signatures from Mrs. Cannon, and then September 1 has to be signed off on by Mrs. Thomas, the past president. So there'll be
stay in alignment with the duties. I'll make sure I get all copies out to you all. Jacqueline, can I send them out to the division? Okay.
Okay,
I'll send them out. So what I have obligated. So obligated, currently, we pay for all the food for the past 3 months. I have it all listed here. The food has been paid for. We paid for the postal bill. We paid for the GoDaddy account, that was like $362. The postal bill was $116, which is for the box, for the key, and just for having it for the whole entire year, the post office.
Okay, I understand those are expenditures that are already.
Been paid, obligated, paid, correct.
That's not obligated. Those are expenditures if you had paid them and written them on. Obligated is something that you would anticipate that's coming. If I was anticipating.
We have future commitments. The only thing we have that's anticipated on coming is we have to pay for the any expenses that become of the Christmas party. That is one of the commitments. That's a planned commitment. And the other planned commitment, no, I did. That's the food for Christmas party. So we have to. Okay. So the food for the Christmas party, that's if we have to, sir. The next committed expense that we will have to do is the Federation of Associations. That's $100. That should be coming up next month. And the other thing that I have not put in the report, yesterday I spent $102 at Costco. That is not part of the $3,166 here. That was $102 at Costco, and I did another $429 for ice today. Those are the only expenses that are outstanding. $4.29.
Oh, that's reasonable.
Okay, and just one last thing, I'm sticking for money. When we close the books out, and I know with most district organizations and other organizations I've been affiliated with, just being able to reflect on the closeout of they always close out May, June, whatever, dealing with the district. If there were any trends or things that we learned from it, you can get back to this, of closing out.
Well, what I do have, since I've taken over the account, I've done a binder that has every expenditure. I have a copy of the receipt. I have copies of checks. I have it all. If anyone, chooses to want to do an audit, I do have that.
No.
Well, the trend, one of the
I think
trends.
I think you're misreading. I'm not talking about audit. I'm not concerned about it.
Okay.
I'm just talking in terms of when the books were closed out, whenever they closed out, in May or June. I'm talking about last year books and what we're starting with when we started.
Well, one thing I see that during the last administration, we were paying for food. When we started this administration, when Mrs. Thomas took over, we took that off the table. So that is one of the trends. We spend more money on food, and then we're cutting it back. So now we're trying to pick it up, but pick it up lightly.
And also, there's a significant increase in the membership for the association. So as Ms. Banks reported, we've got,
like
$2,000 for memberships alone. So we appreciate more members joining the organization, and we hope that trend will continue.
Okay, so
there were 500 households within the community, and
about 89 people.
So we're talking in numbers about an increase as far as members and the money that they're bringing in is new members.
Correct.
I just want to make sure we paid for usage for the church as a part of your anticipated.
I did that earlier in the year, yeah, it was like $225. I did do that, I went to the secretary to come in.
You guys the first thing to pay.
Do we set aside a certain amount of seed money for Community Day?
Seed money?
Or
nope.
Could we,
For
because we
Community
know
Day?
that's coming up and we have our startup expenses.
Well, I know when I did it in 2018, we collected about $1,300 where we didn't really have to go into the PBCCA account. This year we wasn't as fortunate. We received about $700.
And then some things that I paid for out of my own pocket. We had a couple neighbors who paid for the moon vow, so that was really a savings to the community. But I will talk to Ms. Cannon about doing the MC for Community Day. Any other questions? But no, I will make sure everyone gets copies of September, October, and I guess November expense reports. Okay?
Thank you, Twana, for that report. Moving on then, we have any updates from our corresponding secretary, Elton?
Yeah, real quick. So hopefully you all liked our speakers that came this month. For the month of January, so we have a little bit of the old, a little of the experience, the wisdom, and now we're moving to some of the younger sets, meaning we're focusing on education. So January will be an education summit. So once again, we try to cover what I call cradle to career or cradle to grave. Didn't mean to say that. But cradle to elders. And so now we're going to go back to the younger set, focusing on education. So for our January meeting, we'll have an education roundtable. I talked briefly with Dr. Dean there, but hopefully what we intend to do is to look at the lottery for the charter schools. So focusing on the lottery system so that some of these younger parents have an idea of what's going on with the education system in preschool. So we'll have 3 speakers to focus in on education. So that'll be January. I know in the earlier part of the year we tried to lay out some of the other monthly speakers. So as we, once again, we will focus on the nominations in February, and then we'll have Public Works as we talk about some of the springtime things that are going on. So once again, we try to address the needs. A lot of it comes from the surveys that we send out to you all in the beginning of the year, and then we take from that and we try to have monthly forums for you to get information like you did this evening. So with that, look for the January education. Yes?
Just because this happens before the January, the Ward 7 School Fair is happening Saturday, November 23rd from 11 to 2 at Kimball Elementary, and it will. Ward 7 Education Council is having its school fair on November 23rd from 11 to 2 at Kimball Elementary, and it will feature all Ward 7 schools. You can go and learn about them, public, private, charter.
Okay, thank you, Elson. In your chairs, you see a white postcard. Those cards were left in your seats for you to write suggestions. For those who have not completed the survey form in the back, please use those postcards to tell us anything that you feel you're concerned about or want to make some suggestions about, and drop them in the suggestion box on the greeting table at the back. Okay, that's moving us on down the road. Next up, committee reports. We have Ms. Veronica Beverly up next to give us an update on membership. Veronica, she's coming forward. She's our new chairperson for the membership committee and is doing an awesome job greeting our members and encouraging our new neighbors to join. So, Veronica?
Hey everybody, how are you?
Right.
All right, nice to be working with you all. Do we have any new members in the house tonight? No? Okay, great.
None of our new members are here? New neighbors?
New neighbors? All right, so if you haven't already paid your dues, please do so. I'm here every meeting to take that for you in the back. If you have any donations for the Christmas party next month, let me know that also, all right? Thank you all.
Thank you, Veronica. I think she forgot to recognize our new members that are listed on the newsletter, back of the newsletter. I'm sorry, new neighbors that are listed on the back of the newsletter. So welcome to those new neighbors. Block captains, Stan, did you go out of the room? You're up next, our block captain, Stan.
Yes, I was certainly thinking about it, for sure. And, just a quick note, our list of black captains that we have are pretty strong. I'm just missing captains for 2 blocks, and that's just the 3300 block of Nash and the 1300 block of Highwood. So, you know, anybody else do that, volunteer?
100 block of Highwood?
3200 block of Highwood and 3300 of Nash. Oh, did I get that right?
It sounded like you said 3,300.
No, I'm sorry. 3200 block of Highwood and 3300 block of Nash.
I turned in a name for the 3200 block.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, back in September, my neighbor Mary Ann Smith, she hosted a get-together for the block captains. I just want to throw out a thank you to Mary. She did an awesome job, I think. Let's see, and just a thank you to you captains for all you do. And that's all I got. Whoa. Yes, Ms. Ball.
It's kind of intertwined with the block captains, and she made a note about events that are not approved by the community or the board. We have been, as a community, not Public Works Committee, not Joe Blow's committee. For 32 years, we've been doing a holiday decorating in the park, which is at the corner of Carpenter and Old Street. The park began as just a gateway park in 1999, was converted in 2003 to dedicated to the district residents killed on Flight 77, American Airlines. So it became a 9/11 park funded by the Pentagon. And several of the neighbors who were at the event that we've been doing again for 30 years, keeping that gateway clean. The gateway used to be trash dump, Susie's whorehouse, Mary Sue's pimp house, the liquor store, and we took that abandoned government land and made it that beautiful gateway that you see. So I don't want the young kids who were at the cleanup who suggested that we had a new tree planted for the young kids. The new tree is on the Old Street side. It's a holly at no cost to the association. The parents who were there want to bring the refreshments, so at no cost for refreshments to the board. It's just bringing the blocks, and the blocks last year, when they did it, each block brought a different decoration to the park, and they were responsible for removing it on January the 4th. Again, we've been doing it for 30 years, 18 years as the 9/11 Memorial Park. Winter Wonderland was the idea for this year from young people who were at the cleanup last weekend, and have hot chocolate after they did a light cleanup and decorating of the park and singing a few carols. So I would like the board to make a motion to approve this tradition that has been transpiring since 1999. It has nothing to do with anybody's committee. The blocks have been doing it. And the blocks came out in large numbers to do it.
I believe it was last year that the Public Works Committee did.
You are correct, Ms. Paul, in that this is an event that the association has been sponsoring and involved with for a number of years now. In fact, we recognize you for all of your hard work and participation and coordinating for that event last year, and we certainly would want to support it going forward. The board is very much in favor of including, being inclusive with all of the events going forward, and we just wanted to go through proper procedures of getting approved by the board. So thank you for bringing it to the attention of the board tonight. And is there a proposed date?
It's the first Saturday. It's always traditionally the first Saturday to sort of lift the spirits of the community. Followed by the next Tuesday is our meeting. So we all have been together at the park singing carols, decorating the park, and then we come the next Tuesday to the Christmas. That's what's been going on since 1999.
Okay. And again, that was an event that was coordinated by the PBCCA Public Works Committee last year and the year before that, I do believe. So you may...
No, the residents just happen to be, sometimes it's me and I was on that committee, sometimes the other residents that did it were on that committee. But the point I think is, as you indicated in the newsletter, let's move forward, everything's transparent. We would like to not have to go back to 8 or 9 young people and say, we couldn't do it, even though their parents are willing to support it. We need to be able to have that kind of spirit.
Oh, absolutely. We all agree with you on that. Thank you. There's a question in the back or a hand in the back.
Why does this have to be approved by the executive board? It's something that's been going on for years. Have we now become a dictatorship where people in the community can't just do things? We have to get permission to get it done?
Well, no, ma'am, we have not become a dictatorship. As an association, there have traditionally been events that have been sponsored by the board, sponsored by the association, and the events at the 911 Park has been one of those occasions where we have come together as a board, as the former Public Works Committee, in coordinating the events for the community. The cleanup day at the park, the cleanup day throughout the community, and other events. So in an effort to be, as Ms. Paul said, transparent and to be inclusive of everyone, so that everyone can be aware of what's going on, and we can use the channels of the association to promote the events, get the block captains involved and everyone in the community involved. That's why we are encouraging any community-related activities like that to be brought to the board for approval so that we can utilize all the resources of the board to make the event as successful as it can be.
Well, I pick up trash on my street. 16, 17.
I pick up trash on my street too.
Do I have to get permission from the board to do that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it's not for that type of thing. I sweep the leaves and clean up trash on my street all the time. So no, we're not that petty. We just want to be inclusive to help coordinate the community-wide events. Yes, ma'am.
Well,
in the back.
I guess one of my concerns is with all these committees, you only have one here standing committee, and that's Stan. So we had Public Works and we had all these, and it appears that these people are not there, and I don't know why, that you live in your neighborhood and you volunteer and then you can't do it. So I guess if we had somebody in that position, then they could take things back to you all, but it just seems like you all just want to control everything.
Like I said, a dictatorship.
I got a question.
Yes.
What is the approval process? Now, I can see things coming forth and making sure dates don't coincide with one another, but what is the approval process?
Well, as we communicated before, to provide the board with notification to bring a suggestion to the board.
I didn't ask the purpose, I asked the process.
Well, if you would allow me to explain, I will. The process is to submit the suggestion or information to any one of the board members. All of our email addresses are posted on the website or available in our, it's not in the newsletter, but it's posted on our website. You could send your suggestion to the info@pennbranchdc.org. Contact any one of us and give us your suggestion. We hope we have executive board meetings every month. The Tuesday before our monthly meetings, we review all the information that has come to the board through the mail, through the email addresses, through individuals, and we look at all the things that are on the agenda, all the things that have been proposed. For instance, the Pope Branch Trail ribbon cutting ceremony. That was one event that was
The Public Works Committee worked with them for 12 years, and they invested $38 million in this community, not only the trail, but the Pope Branch Creek Park that's at the foot of the hill at 34th and 12 of the members of that committee also helped make sure that they replaced the sewer on 3600 block of Texas Avenue, and so it all came together. And they sent the documentation. We should have put flyers out, and more people probably would have went out on the trail, because I respected what you had said. I got the flyers 3 weeks before the trail walk. I did not do anything with them, but yet I saw we didn't put them out through our block captain network to increase the number of people. That was the final part of that project. And so all I want to do is focus on Christmas and the young people. And I would ask at this time as a motion that we as a community get together, utilizing our block captain network to distribute flyers that will be created not by Alberta Paul, but other members who said they were more creative than me. In fact, they really are.
Well, Ms. Paul, we appreciate the work that was done previous, culminating the event at the ribbon cutting ceremony. Back to Mr. Owen's question about the process, one of our residents provided us with information about the ribbon cutting ceremony. That came to the board members, actually to the previous president. It came to the previous president, and we followed through with the Parks and Recreation contact to coordinate that event, and we published the flyers as soon as they were provided to us. They were published on the website, and we sent out information about the trail on the listserv. So that's the process. When it comes to the board members, it goes through our executive committee, goes through the approval process, deliberation at the executive committee level, and to ensure that we don't have conflicts like we had on that day. There was the event that you were coordinating unofficially. There was the event that had been officially approved by the board on the same day, conflicting times. So if we have notification as to what the events are, we can ensure that there aren't conflicts so that we can get maximum participation at each one of the events.
Madam President, and respectfully, the 14 members that belong to the community that came out, several of them walked the trail. There was no conflict. People can chew and talk at the same time. Let me be real clear. It was really no conflict. The more, social scientists will tell you, the more activities you have for a community to choose from, people are going to choose what they like. Some are going to do the trail. Some are going to do the cleanup. Some are going to go to a play at 2 o'clock that afternoon. The most important thing that social scientists will tell you is you are bringing people together for the common good. So again, being transparent, having to put it in the newsletter last year, my schedule of activities, saying that it's an annual thing. I wrote the newsletter for 9 months with your parliamentarian. In the October newsletter, it's on the website. It shows that here's what we do. We do 3 cleanings, and we do the annual, and we like to continue that every year. It was approved then. I'm not discussing that, but sharing with you that you got to accept the fact that it is a community thing that I don't think anybody should have a problem like, and I would like to make a motion that the community, and if the community says no, it's okay. I'm a big girl. I would just like to make a motion that we do this as a comprehensive event for the community.
I don't think we had any problems with it. Okay. Is there a second to the motion? Okay. It's been moved and properly seconded. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there discussion?
Why are we discussing this when it's not costing the chap any money? You're not spending one penny. I'm part of that Public Works Committee.
Yes.
And I have been on it ever since it started. Now, it never come to the committee for money. You're not putting out any money for this. It is not hurting anyone. To get that thing down that hill, we went through a lot of problems to get that done. The committee wasn't behind us when we got it done. So all of a sudden now, you got to get, you want to do something and do something good. Why are all these bags of leaves still in the streets? The leaves. They've been ran for over 3 weeks. People had bagged their leaves and no one has picked them up.
Leaf collection didn't start until November 4th.
That don't have nothing to do with that. They've been around here for a long time. They come around every year to collect leaves. These bags been for over 3 weeks. And these trees there, they should be picked up. So if you want to do something, look into that. That's something you need to do. But talk about this, you're just wasting time at these meetings about stuff that's really, you are not doing anything about it. You're just holding and wasting up people's time.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question. Do we no longer have a public works committee? Because I thought that we had one.
That is one of the active, or it's a standing committee, it's just inactive at this point.
I'm just curious. I might have missed one meeting because I couldn't get out of work. But did something, it used to be a very active committee. Did something happen in the past 2 months that the committee is no longer active?
Yes, back in August of 2019, yes.
August 2019, they fired me. I want the Christmas thing to be voted on.
Is there?
Can we ask a question? What are the standing committees? What are the standing committees?
Motions
And
on the
which
floor.
ones are
So
active?
the motion is on the floor,
Yes.
we're in the discussion. Do we have a parliamentarian?
She's not here, but you're correct. Thank you for that point of order. The motion on the floor is for the Penn Branch Citizen Civic Association to accept the event on December 1st for the decoration of the 911 park.
Well, right, that was
On
second,
December
and then you call it for a discussion.
December
This is
December
where
2nd.
it's discussion.
This is
So
the
it was
discussion.
already second, this is discussion. And I think people are just trying to ascertain the process, and these are why we're asking questions. So,
But the discussion has
what
to
are
be
the
germane to the
standing
motion.
committees? So, what are the standing committees? Why they're not active? Because I want to know, do we even have to go through this question if we don't have? I just need to know where we stand on committees.
The standing committees are the Membership Committee, which is active, the Legislative Affairs Committee, which is inactive. Actually, we have reactivated the Legislative Affairs Committee, an ad hoc special committee to focus on the bylaws. There's a Hospitality Committee, which is active. The Ways and Means Committee, which is inactive. The Public Works Committee, which is inactive at this point. Yes, sir.
I guess my question is,
And the hour is late,
okay,
and I don't want to keep
I'll be
anybody.
brief, but I guess I have a concern that you have committees that are functioning. New administration comes in, and we're acting like the guy in the White House. Is that we're saying, okay, I'm going to get rid of you, and they were functioning, and without any rationale. I know what the bylaws said, and I think the intent at that time was to give the president of the board opportunities to have committees, but I don't think it was the intent to come in and wipe out people that are volunteering in their community, that are doing a great job, and say, okay, now I'm gonna put new people in.
Well,
and then, just let me finish, and it seems like there's no compassion here, you know? So, I mean, I don't understand, I know what the bylaws says, and so I guess that's something, when we update the bylaws, is maybe we'll look at that and maybe take some of that power back.
Yes.
Well, I will remind everybody, according to the bylaws, the officers are voted positions. The chairpersons of the standing committees and special committees are appointed positions, and they serve at the behest of the president
And the
of
bylaws
the
can be
organization.
amended to take that back.
Yes.
I beg your pardon?
The
Bylaws can be amended, and they need to be.
Yes.
Well, as part of the updates to the bylaws, they're going through that process right now.
I understand, but I think the intent, when they did it, when Mr. Bussey and them were there, that they were expecting people to act with transparency and give them the leeway. But I think we have officers in now that are taking that and taking it the wrong direction.
Well, again, one of the major things that we're doing as part of this administration is to get our bylaws updated to be more in line with the Federation Association bylaws. So that will be addressed during that process.
Please, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a lot of things that are on the internet. Why is it that we cannot get the newsletter passed out to us? Because we have a lot of people who still do not have that cannot get that information on their computers.
Well,
and we don't get the flyers, so why can't we get the flyers anymore?
ma'am, the newsletters are being passed out via the block captains.
But not consistent.
What is your address, ma'am?
1643 38th Street.
1643?
And Ms. Lee Cost is the one, because I used to be the block captain, but Ms. Lee Cost is the one who passes those out, ma'am. And we're not getting anything anymore.
Okay, well, we will, our block captain will take that up with the block captain for your block to ensure that you get those in the future. And you're right, they are posted on the internet as well, and we are sensitive to the fact that many of our neighbors do not have internet access and still want and need a hard copy of the newsletter. There's a hand in the back.
Oh, well, I was gonna call to close discussion, but if you want to continue.
Okay. One more question over here, Mr. Kevin, is it?
No, my question is pretty much the same as hers. You got a motion on the floor that I don't know if it's been seconded or.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you get from a motion that's moved, well, a motion that's put on the floor is a motion second, and then you go to point of information? You're out of order.
It's supposed to be discussion with information first.
I apologize.
We don't have a.
Okay. So at this point, with the motion on the floor, it's been properly seconded. Again, the motion is to post, is for the Penn Branch Citizen Civic Association to support the decoration at the 911 Park on December 7th.
December the 7th, utilizing our block captain network to distribute the information, so nobody is left out.
So, it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It's been moved and properly seconded. The motion carries.
Thank you.
That is, Antoine, I believe you've already addressed it, information about hospitality and the holiday social coming up at the December meeting on December 10th, not December 12th.
Okay, I'm asking you to recognize when you finish that statement. I have a question or an announcement.
Okay, so please, we're looking for volunteers to help coordinate the potluck event on December 10th. Anyone interested in helping to support, to serve, to decorate, and all the other extraneous things we have to do, please sign up on the sheet at the back of the room or let Ms. Tawana know before you leave this evening. I also would like to recognize Ms. Erica Bellamy at the back of the room. She's at our hospitality table in the back. She's one of our new members on the hospitality committee. Thank you, Erica, for stepping up into that role. And she lives on Nash Street, so thank you again, Erica. Is there a question?
Yeah, well, I had an announcement on November 19th, the Federation of Citizens Association is having a seminar at 441 4th Street. They're having a panel on the comprehensive plan, and you've heard me talk about the comp plan from time to time over the years, and you've been following the news, so there's a lot going on with that. So it's 441 at 6:30 to 8:30, so if you're interested in the comprehensive plan, I urge you to come. Let's see, oh, and I did have one question, and I think this gentleman had a suggestion, a comment, and then I have a separate unrelated question.
Okay, listen, it's just to say that probably what would be very helpful for everybody involved, if when a person makes suggestions of trying to come into some type of alignment, is that the turnaround time making decisions need to be shorter. Now, my understanding is that the executive committee meet monthly, right? If someone is asking to an event or whatever, a month away may be too long. I think the time needs to be shorter.
Yes, and we do call special meetings. We communicate via email to address whatever issues or suggestions that come up that need our immediate attention. So we do take care of that. Okay.
Okay, my question, I know that we've been like hassled for a couple of months about a nuisance copyright lawsuit. Is there any update on that?
Yes, it's being handled. We've engaged with, let's see, hold on a second. Let me find my notes. Our individual that was on the agenda to give an update on that. Well, just for the General Association, a few months ago, we received notification from a company that was basically trying to shake us down for copyright infringement. There was, a couple of years ago, there was a 7-Eleven campaign that we being the association was asked to participate in, and we were provided with logos from 7-Eleven that we posted on our website, that we used to help market. I think they were giving away Slurpees or something, giving us discounts on some items that they were selling. This troll company apparently saw that logo on our website and contacted us to basically declare that we were infringing on the 7-Eleven logo, and they were trying to shake us down for like $2,000 based on that. Since that time, we have communicated with that law firm and engaged resources from DC. I don't have my notes in front of me, but we are on top of that. We're handling it. We've gotten the Office of Attorney General, and there's another organization too that is working on our behalf to basically get this case closed and get it confirmed.
Well, you said shakedown. I guess I'm not too clear on it.
Well, what I mean by shakedown is that they were claiming that we were infringing on their copyright, and according to some documentation they sent to us, is that if we were a commercial this would only apply if we were a commercial business. We were a nonprofit business or nonprofit entity, and they still did not recognize the fact that this monies they were asking for, this copyright infringement, did not apply to us. And they kept communicating to the point of harassing myself, harassing some of the other board members to basically try to demand that we give them over $2,000 for this infringement. So that's what I mean by shakedown.
So would it be fair to say they were suing?
They were threatening to file a lawsuit if we didn't pay them that amount. So again, we engaged all the right resources, law firm that's representing us now in that particular instance.
And you said the Office of the Attorney General, which, do we need a law firm if we have the Attorney General handling it?
No, we don't.
They're pretty aggressive.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find my notes from our last meeting. I'm sorry, our executive board meeting, where we got the latest update on that. Oh, hold on a second, we've got the minutes from the executive board meeting. Kyle is going to give us the update. The actual name of the organization that is engaged to represent us. Public Citizen Litigation.
Oh, Public Citizen, okay.
Yes. And they were very familiar with this organization, who is this law firm, Higby, I believe it is, who's trying to do the shakedown on us, and they've made contact with them and are representing on our behalf.
And it didn't happen on your watch, did it?
No, it did not. It was residual from a couple of years ago. They found the 7-Eleven logos basically on our website server. They were just sitting out there, like I said, this troll And they've been harassing us ever since. Well, we're at the end of our November executive board meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
It's been moved and properly second. The November general body meeting is now adjourned.